Hi guys, welcome back to GCSE Maths Attack. In today's lesson, we are going to look at solving quadratic equations. So here are a few examples of quadratic equations that we will be looking at in today's lesson. So if this is something you are interested in, please keep watching. So without further ado, let's begin. Okay guys, so we can tell that this is a quadratic equation because this equation has an x squared at the top. Now, whenever we have quadratic equations, in order for us to solve them, we need to be able to factorize them. So because we have an x squared, we straight away know that we're going to have two brackets that will equal to 0. Now, the general rule of thumb is this is the number right towards the end where you find the factors. So let's find out the factors of 28. That will be 1 times 28. The other one will be 14 times 2. And the other factor will be 7 times 4. Now, once you found out the factors, what you can do is look through every single factor, and you will need to look at the factor which you can add and subtract in order to give you positive 3x. Now, if I add 1 plus 28, or even if I subtract any of them, it would never give me 3x or anything close to that. If I look at 14 and 2, if I add 14 to 2, that will give me 16. Even if I subtract them, it would not give me any number that's near 3. However, if I look at 7 and 4, so if I look at 7x and I look at 4x, I need to get plus 3x. So that basically means I'm going to do 7x, subtract 4x. And I can see that this is there's an invisible positive sign in front of the 7. So positive 7x, take away 4x, that will give me 3x. Now, if I do 7 times minus 4, that will give me minus 28. And if you look at this sign in front of 28 is a minus. So this meets both of the criterias. So if I just look at these two numbers, I know that I'm going to have x and x here. So if I was going to expand these two brackets, it will give me x squared. Now, I know that one of them is going to be positive 7x and the other one, and the other one will be minus 4. Now, if I was going to expand this bracket, x times x will give me x squared, x times 4 will give me minus 4x, 7 times x will give me positive 7x, and positive 7 times negative 4 will give me minus 28 equals 0. And if I was going to simplify this, it will be x squared minus 4x plus 7x. Remember, these two are like terms, so that means you can only add and subtract them. So minus 4 plus 7 will give me positive 3x minus 28. Okay, so that's just to double check that we factorized the equation correctly. Now we're asked to solve. Okay, so if I just draw my solving here, I'm going to get both of the brackets and I'm going to rewrite them. Now it's equal to 0, so you're going to do them separately. You're going to do x plus 7 equal to 0, and you have x minus 4, which is also equal to 0. Now you need to work out the x values. So if I take the 7 to the other side, I'm going to minus 7 on both sides. I'm left with minus 7. I'm going to plus 4 on both sides to give me x, and x will be 4. So I have two solutions. X can equal minus 7 or x can equal 4. Okay, so the first thing I need to do is write down the factors of 10. So one of the factors of 10 will be 1 times 10, and the other will be 2 times 5. Now, I need to think which one of these pairs would add and subtract to give me negative 7. Negative 7y. So I know that if I add and subtract 10, that will give me nothing nowhere near minus 7. If I add and subtract 2 and 5, that can give me minus 7y. So I can do minus 2y subtract 5y. Now, if I subtract these two, it will give me minus 7y. Now, if I was going to multiply minus 2 times minus 5, that will give me positive 10. So it meets this criteria and this criteria. So I know that the pair will be minus 2 and it will be minus 5. So I'm going to write it down, y minus 2 and y minus 5. And I will call that 0. So I have y minus 2 equals 0 or y minus 5 equals 0. So I'm going to rearrange this equation to make y the subject. So I'm going to add 2 to both sides. I'm going to add 5 to both sides. So I'm left with y equals 2. And the other one, I will be left with y equals 5. Okay, guys, so have a go at these two questions. Pause the video and we shall go through them in a minute. Okay, so the first thing you need to do is write down all the factors of 20. So one of the factors of 20 will be 1 times 20. The other will be 4 times 5. And the other will be 10 times 2. So which numbers can I add and subtract? That can give me 9b. I have identified my 4 and 5. What can I do to my 4 and 5 to give me 9? I can do plus 5 and plus 4. So I know that my I know that my brackets will have b and b since we're using b, and it's going to be positive 4, and the other bracket will be positive 5, and it will equal 0. And if I do 4 times 5, both positive, will give me positive 20. Okay, so I'm going to equal both of the brackets to 0. B plus 4 equals 0, and b plus 5 is also equal to 0. I'm going to minus 4 from both sides. I'm going to minus 5 from here. I am left with b equals minus 4, and here I am left with b equals minus 5. And those are your two solutions to the equation. Okay, so for this one, I need to write down the factors of 9. That's 1 times 9. And I have another one, 3 times 3. This one is the most realistic one. That will give me minus 10. I can do minus 1, subtract 9, and that will give me minus 10h. And 2 negatives, so negative 1 times negative 9 will give me positive 9. So I know I have my brackets over here. Since we're using h, it will be h, it will be negative 1, and negative 9 equals 0. H minus 1 equals 0, or h minus 9 equals 0, plus 1 on both sides, plus 9 on both sides, h equals 1, or h equals 9. And those are your two solutions to the equation. And if I was going to expand this bracket, minus 1 minus 9 will give me positive 9. And if I was going to have minus 1h, negative 9h, that will give me minus 10h. So well done if you got those two questions correct. Okay, so we've now spiced up the question. How would we solve this type of question? Okay, so to solve these type of quadratic where you have the coefficient greater than 1, as you can see we have 2 over here. The first step you need to do is 2 times 2, and that is 4. You now need to write down the factors of 4. 2 times 2 is 1, and 1 times 4 is another. I need to find the pair that will give me positive 5. I know that if I do 1x plus 4x, that will give me 5x. Okay, and if I do 1 times 4, both positives, that will give me positive 4. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to rewrite this equation, except I'm going to grab these two numbers and substitute it for the 5x. So I've got 2x squared plus x plus 4x plus 2 equals 0. Now, if I look at the middle, if I was going to add them together, that would give me 5x. So now I'm going to put a line in the center, and I'm going to factorize this separately than this. Okay, So if I factorize this, I can see that they both have x in common. So I'm going to pull out an x. I'm left with 2x plus 1. And if I was going to expand that bracket, 2x times x will give me 2x squared. X times 1 will give me 1x. Okay. Now I'm going to factorize this one separately as well. I have 4 and 2. I can pull out a 2. No x's in common, so I'm left with 2x plus 1. So 2 times 2x will give me 4x. 2 times 1 give me 2. Now I can see that these two brackets are the same, so I'm going to cancel one out. I'm going to write down 2x plus 1, and I'm going to combine these two numbers. I can see that there's an invisible plus here. So this will be x plus 2 equals 0. Okay, so I'm going to do the same thing as I usually do. I'm going to solve this for x. So 2x plus 1 equals 0. I'm going to find out negative 1 from both sides. 2x equals minus 1. Divide both sides by 2. X is equal to minus a half. Okay, so that's one of your solution. Now your next solution will be x plus 2 equals 0. Subtract 2 from both sides. X is equal to negative 2. Have a go at this question. Okay, so let's have a go at this question together. 5 times minus 4 is 20. Factors of 20 are 1 times 20. The other is 4 times 5. And the other is 10 times 2. I need to get to 19x. I know I can do that with 1 and 20. I can do minus 1 plus 20, and that will give me positive 9x. So I'm going to rewrite this. If I put an x here, and I'm going to grab these two numbers and I'm going to substitute it over here. So I'm left with 5x squared minus x plus 20 minus 4 equals 0. And I'm going to factorize them separately. I can see that there's an x in common here. I'm left with 5x minus 1. I can see from 20x and minus 4, I can pull out a 4. I'm left with 5x minus 1 equals 0. This is gone. I'm left with 5x minus 1. And then I'm going to get this one and I'm going to get this one. I'm going to join them up. So that's x plus 4 equals 0. I'm going to equal this to 0 and I'm going to equal this to 0 separately. So 5x minus 1 equals 0. 5x is equal to 1. X is equal to 1/5. With the other one, I have x plus 4 equals 0, minus 4, minus 4. So I'm left with x is equal to negative 4. So here are my two solutions to my equation. Right, guys, so pause the video and have a go at these two beautiful questions, and I shall go through them in a minute. Okay, so I'm assuming you've gone through these questions. Let's begin. So 2 times 15 is 30, okay? Factors of 30 would be 10 times 3. The next one would be 2 times 15. And the next one will be 6 times 5. 6 and 5 look more appropriate. I can do minus 6x minus 5x. 2 minuses will give me positive 30. So 6 times minus 5 will give me positive 30. Minus 6x minus 5x will give me minus 11x. So I'm just going to grab this and stick it here. I'm left with 2x squared minus 6x minus 5x plus 15 equals 0. I'm just going to factorize this. I'm going to pull out a 2x. I'm left with x minus 3. I'm going to take out a minus 5 equals 0. That's cancel out. I'm left with 2x minus 5. I'm left with x minus 3 equals 0. So my two solutions will be x equals 3 or x can equal 5 over 2. Okay, so well done if you've got those correct. The next one is over here. Now the first thing I need to do is get rid of this at the bottom. So I'm going to multiply both sides by m plus 3. M plus 3. I know that these two cancel out, so I'm left with 25 equals m plus 3 and m plus 3. So I'm going to expand this bracket first. I've got m squared, I've got 3m, I've got 3m plus 9, 25, okay? So I'm left with m squared plus 6m, because those two give me 6m, plus 9 equals 25. I'm going to subtract 25 from both sides, and I'm left with m squared plus 6m minus 16 equals 0. Okay, now the factors of 16, the appropriate one would be 2 times 8. Okay, so I have minus 2 plus 8, because that will give me positive 6. So I have m minus 2 and m plus 8. So my two solutions would be m equals 2 or m equals minus 8. So if you've got that correct, well done. If not, please pause the video and re-go over what I went through. Thank you for getting this far to my video, and if you enjoyed it, please give a like, thumbs up, and please do share this, because I really need to grow this channel.